How can two villages, separated by a river, find peace when no one dares to cross it? Jesus' question was gentle yet resonant, weaving through the stillness of the evening as his disciples gathered around him by the lake. The sun was slipping beyond the horizon, casting warm, golden light across the water, a reflection of the story he was about to share. The disciples who had journeyed with Jesus through towns and fields felt an unspoken distance between them. Unvoiced judgments, misunderstandings, and assumptions lingered in the space between them. Though they were close in their mission, there was a weight that kept them from fully opening their hearts. Jesus, ever perceptive, noticed the strain among them. He waited until each disciple had drawn close, and in a soft voice, he began his story. Once, he began, there were two villages nestled on opposite sides of a wide, fast-flowing river. Though the people of these villages shared the same sky, the same stars, and the same fields blooming with wildflowers, they knew little of each other. For generations, tales of suspicion and mistrust passed down from one generation to the next. Stories painted the villagers on the opposite side as unfriendly, strange, even dangerous. The disciples leaned in, each recognizing their own hidden assumptions. Some exchanged glances, while others, like Peter, known for his pride, felt a stirring of discomfort. He had often judged others quickly, letting his beliefs harden into convictions without truly knowing his brothers. In each village, Jesus continued, the people gathered every morning by the riverbank, looking across at the distant figures on the other shore. They would shout greetings across the water, hoping to connect, yet the river's roar twisted their words. What began as friendly attempts to reach out often returned as confused echoes, turning hope into anger and anger into resentment. With each year, misunderstandings grew, solidifying into beliefs about the people on the other side. As the disciples listened, they could see the villagers' frustration, their efforts misunderstood. The disciples had experienced this themselves, the pain of being misunderstood, the ache of assumptions left unchallenged. They could feel the river between the villages as if it ran between themselves. Eventually, Jesus said, the villagers stopped trying to reach across. They accepted the tales as truth, letting mistrust fill their hearts. The river, which once provided water and beauty, became a symbol of separation. Over time, its current seemed to grow stronger, its width wider, not from natural forces but from the walls they built within themselves. The disciples felt the story settle in their hearts. Each could feel the river as a reflection of their own struggles, the silent judgments and assumptions they held about each other. John, known for his pride, remembered moments he had clung to grudges, letting them grow into walls of his own making. But in one of the villages, Jesus continued, there was a young man, a dreamer, a seeker. He grew weary of the stories, tired of the assumptions that had been passed down to him. How can we know who they truly are if no one has crossed the river? He wondered. He had a heart that longed for connection, for truth. Yet he knew that crossing the river would not be easy. The currents were strong, the waters deep, and he had no way to know what awaited him on the other side. The disciples recognized themselves in this young man, feeling the pull of his desire to reach out, yet also the weight of his fears. Thomas, known for his doubt, thought of his own hesitations, the fears that kept him from truly opening up, from trusting completely. Still, the young man made his way to the river's edge, determined to find a way. But when he arrived, the river's strength overwhelmed him. The water surged with an unstoppable force, and he felt helpless, too small in the face of such an obstacle. Just as he was about to turn back, he noticed an elderly man working nearby. This man was a carpenter, known throughout the village for his kindness and wisdom. He was often quiet, choosing to listen rather than speak, observing rather than judging. The disciples felt a kinship with the young man and admiration for the carpenter. They saw Jesus in the elderly man, a figure of strength, patience, and compassion. The young man shared his dream with the carpenter, pouring out his desire to reach the other side. The carpenter listened without interruption, his eyes filled with understanding. I too have dreamed of building a bridge across this river, the carpenter said softly. But I cannot do it alone. Such a bridge requires two hearts, two sets of hands working together. Will you help me? The disciples were moved. They felt the power of the carpenter's invitation, understanding that a bridge was something to be built, not simply found. Each disciple saw themselves in the young man, recognizing the call to lay down their own fears and pride to build connections. The young man agreed, his heart swelling with hope, and together they began their work. Every morning, the carpenter and the young man returned to the river, gathering wood, stone, and rope. With each passing day they cut, shaped, and lifted heavy planks. As they worked, they found themselves transformed, discovering a strength within that they had not known. At times, the young man would grow weary, discouraged by the enormity of the task. But each time the carpenter would smile, his hand steady, his heart unwavering. The disciples listened intently, feeling the young man's weariness but also the resilience born of patience and faith. Jesus' words seemed to peel back layers within each of them, revealing their own places of doubt, their own need for encouragement. One day, Jesus continued, as they laid a final plank, the young man looked up and saw that their bridge stretched halfway across the river. He felt a surge of pride and amazement, yet he also knew that much work still lay ahead. As he looked back toward his village, he noticed some villagers watching, their faces a mix of doubt and curiosity. Some had laughed at the bridge, calling it foolish, a waste of time. Yet, others looked on with hope, their eyes reflecting a quiet yearning for connection. The disciples felt a warmth growing within them, recognizing that they too were watched by others, those who doubted and those who believed. They felt the story's pull, an invitation to carry on even when faced with doubt and disbelief. With each plank laid, Jesus went on. The young man felt the walls within his own heart begin to crumble. No longer was the bridge just a path across the river. It had become a path within his own soul, allowing him to rise above his fears and see himself and others more clearly. He realized that, as much as he was building a bridge to reach others, he was building a bridge to his own heart. At these words, the disciples felt a deep sense of peace and conviction settle over them. Andrew thought of the walls he had built around his own heart, choosing silence over courage. Peter, humbled, felt the weight of his pride dissolve, replaced by a desire to build, to connect, to mend. At last, Jesus said, the bridge was finished, stretching wide and strong across the river, a testament to patience, resilience, and love. The young man's heart raced as he took his first steps, unsure of what he would find. But as he reached the other side, he saw the people waiting there, faces filled with warmth and welcome. They were not strangers. They were kind, joyful, and full of dreams just like his own people. They had simply been waiting for someone to reach out, to extend a hand across the divide. The disciples were silent, feeling the beauty of the young man's courage and the carpenter's wisdom. They could see themselves in the journey, each step a reminder of the power of connection, the strength found in reaching across divides. And from that day forward, Jesus said, the bridge became a place of unity, a path that joined two villages, two hearts, two dreams. Families from both sides crossed it, sharing stories, laughter, and meals. The river, once a symbol of separation, now united them, reminding them that they were one people, bound by love, by shared dreams, by the same sky. Looking upon each disciple, Jesus spoke with a tenderness that reached into their souls. My beloved friends, each of us is called to be a bridge builder. Within each of you lies the power to lay down a plank of kindness, a nail of patience, a beam of love. Each choice, each moment of understanding, builds a path to unity. Peter reached out to John, his heart open, his voice thick with emotion. Forgive me, brother, for the walls I've built. Today, I see that each of us is called to lay down planks of love and unity. John embraced him, tears in his eyes. And I too have held on to pride. Together we can build a bridge that carries us all. With a final, gentle gaze, Jesus offered his last words, words that would echo in their hearts forever. Remember, each bridge begins with a single plank, a choice to listen, a word of kindness, a heart open to love. May you go forth as builders of peace, of unity, of light. Let your love be a guide, illuminating the path to understanding, to connection, to the truth of our shared journey. As they rose, the disciples felt transformed, their hearts light, their spirits lifted. The story had given them a new purpose, a vision of what lay beyond fear and pride. And as they walked away from the shore, they knew that the bridge Jesus had described was not only a path between two villages but a path to a world transformed by love, by compassion, by the courage to reach across any divide, one plank, one heart, one step at a time. This is end of the story. Comment amen if you believe in Jesus' blessings. Please like this video and subscribe this channel for more Jesus story like this. May the God watch over you.